I remember when I graduated high school, freshman year of college, I remember having a conversation. The conversation was, man, if I could just make 90 grand a year. That's probably equivalent to about 130 now. With 90 grand a year, I could pay off my home, I could pay off my cars, I could have a good lifestyle, I could buy rental properties, I could build my wealth, I'd have a business. I assumed a business would bring me that 90,000 a year. And my view of the world was this. It was not very big. My view of not only money, but the size of the company I could build, the amount of adventure I could have in my life, the things I could do, the things I could achieve, the world I could live in was this. And then as I started building my my businesses, I'd meet other people. I'd read more books. I would go to mastermind groups. I'd go to speaking events, and I'd meet people. And my world kept getting a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And what I've noticed is the bigger my worldview is, and I still think it's way too small, the bigger it is, the more I go for. And the more I end up getting, both from a business standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, from the quality of my team that I get to work with every day, from a financial standpoint, from an adventure in my life standpoint, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's like every day you meet another person, you're like, oh my gosh, that's possible? Wow. And when you see that, the possibility, then your goalpost moves. It gets a little bigger and it moves a little further out, and you keep going. And that's what you're aiming at. That's what you're going for. And everything you do, the steps you take, the things you learn, the things you create inside your company, the people you hire that are more expensive and have more talent, you keep going for more and more and more because you see the possibility. My old view was this. My new view is this. I theorize in another 10 years, my view will be that. And that's what this video is about. It's the final video from Greg Crabtree, and it's about encouragement. It's about possibility. It's about what's really out there. And you may not see this in your life because you're not meeting and hanging out with the right people, but there are tons of people like this example. And in the very end of this video, you're going to hear an example, and it's probably from, I don't know that for sure, but I'm going to guess it's a $15 to $20 million company, gross revenue that he's talking about. Don't let that discourage you. Don't say, well, that's not me. Or I don't really want that, or that's not possible, because you're thinking, and I historically have thought in terms of who I am today and what I know today, and we've got to be thinking about who will we be tomorrow, what will we know tomorrow, because that's going to define where we end up going. Enjoy.
One of our classic examples, and he's not the only one we've had. I mean, we've had multiple versions of this, but we call that the guy in my summary book, the 14-year overnight success. And when we found him, he was doing $5 million a year in revenue, and he made nothing in profit because he was paying himself a $30,000 salary, but he's taking $150,000 in distributions. And so essentially, if you really treated the distributions like we should as salary, he was making nothing. So he said, here's the deal. We're going to set your wage at $180,000, and now you don't get to take any distributions except for tax coverage until we get your company fully capitalized. Okay, well, the first year rolls around, he makes $280,000, and he freaks out because he owes $50,000 in tax. And we said, listen, I knew this day's coming. I got news for you. 280,000 minus 50 is what? 230. Well, 230 I think is a lot better than 170 because he made 180 the previous year and owed 10,000 in tax. So he was looking at the tax number, and I go, listen, and I said this in the book. I mean, paying income taxes is the truest key performance indicator of wealth creation there ever was. If you don't pay any income taxes, there's only two possibilities. You didn't make any money or you cheated, and both of those are bad. And so, so we had this discussion. I mean, how many of you would have your accountant have this discussion with you? But I was talking to him about this same tone. I said, listen, I knew this day was coming and we didn't trust you. We've got the $50,000. We had your controller set the $50,000 aside in a savings account. So just pay the money and keep going. And he grumbled and added a few expletives about the tax system and sent it in. The next year rolls around, he makes $450. The next year rolls around, he makes $750. The next year he makes $1.2 million. The next year he makes $1.7 million profit. These are all profit numbers. The next year he makes $3.2 million the next 2 years after that. So you tell me. I mean, all we did was give him a game plan and a strategy of how to attack the problem and change the paradigm. And that's really, I think, the opportunity that everybody misses in business is understanding that, What you don't want to be is what Wall Street Journal did an article back in the 90s about being a single unit Subway franchise. And they said, and this really sums it up, it was like having a job with all the headaches of ownership, because you made about a $25,000 salary. It was about all that a single unit franchise of Subway could actually produce. And it still is about that case. So they don't actually sell single unit franchises anymore. You always have to buy multiple units, because you have to buy at least 6 to 10 probably to even make a decent wage as a manager, because you can only run so many people past the cash register in a day. And so there's basic fundamental laws of business physics that applies to all these things. And that's really what we've tried to develop here, is giving you a game plan and really a path to say, if I'll follow these things and go do excellent service, take care of my customers, develop my team, I tell you, it's a great way to build wealth, make an impact in the community, provide really good, decent paying jobs, and really do some wonderful stuff.
So what you just heard was all about money. It was all about money stuff. It's all about profit. It's all about what you extract from the business and put in your pocket. And that's just a piece of the equation, in my opinion. There's the whole family side. What are you doing with your kids? How are you working with your kids? What are you turning your kids into? What kind of relationship do you have with your spouse? Are you having adventure and fun in your life? There's all these other things. The money's just a piece of it. But the money can be an exciting part of it. And that's what you just heard. You heard a money example. So when you hear that, I think you have two reactions. One is, I want that. I can go for that. It's going to be hard, it's going to be challenging, but I can do it, and I'm going to figure it out. Or the other reaction is, I don't want any of that. It's too hard, it's too challenging, it's bigger than I would ever want to deal with. Everything about that sounds hard and stressful. If you're on the side of the fence that says, geez, that would be incredible, that would be awesome, that is what I want to go for, not just because of the money, but because of who I'll become, what I'll have to learn, the new version of myself I'll have to become, the team that I'll get to surround myself and work with, the impact we'll have on the marketplace, and all these other factors. If those things excite you, you're like, I wish I could be that person that could build that company, then you need to be at SA4. If you're on the other side of the fence, you're like, I don't want any of that. I want one crew, one truck, one team. I'd love to have you come to SA4 so we could persuade you to think a little bit different. But if you're like, you know what I got now, it's all I ever want in life, yeah, SA4 is kind of for you, but SA's for like going big, thinking big, the future, becoming a new version of you, wanting more, identifying strategy, thinking about the marketplace, saying, who are my competitors, what are the challenges coming, I'm going to transcend all that, I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to learn it, I'm going to solve it, I'm going to hire the people to fix it, I'm going to be a leader in my marketplace. I'm going to take everything that's coming at me in the future, I'm going to grab it, I'm going to capitalize on it, I'm going to turn it into stuff that benefits my company in a massive way, and we're going to win. Like, we're going to do cool things in the future, we're going to have big impact in the future. That's you, SA4. It's barely 2 months away. I hope you'll be there. Thanks a lot.